Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today I'm going to be sharing 3 recipes that are all very delicious and perfect, easy weeknight meals. First up, we have peanut noodles with chicken. So this recipe is super quick and easy to make, but it is absolutely packed full of flavor. So the first thing that we're going to do while our water is boiling to cook the spaghetti noodles is get the sauce prepared. So for that, you're just going to need some peanut butter. I use smooth peanut butter, but you can use chunky if you like, because we do end up adding peanuts into this. So that's definitely just personal preference or whatever you have on hand. But then to that, you're going to add in some soy sauce, lime juice, a little bit of sesame oil, rice wine vinegar, and then some honey. And then we're also going to add in that with some grated ginger. I just use the kind in the tube because I don't use ginger enough to warrant getting fresh ginger and letting it go bad in the refrigerator. And I'm really trying to be more mindful of food waste in our household because that's a big expense for my husband and I. So by purchasing that's in the tube, it makes it super simple because you can keep it in the fridge and then use it for recipes like this when it's called for. You're also going to add in some warm or hot water to this to thin it out to your desired consistency. So you're going to see that added in. And I will have the recipe that I am referencing linked in the description box below with all of the measurements. I did make a few adjustments just based off of what I had on hand. For instance, it does call for a chili garlic paste, and I didn't have that. And again, I'm trying to be more mindful of using up what I do have. So instead, I just added some garlic powder and some red pepper flake to give the heat and then that garlic flavor. So you just want to combine all of these ingredients together. It's easiest to do with a whisk because it does take just a minute to get the liquid ingredients to incorporate into the peanut butter. But once it does, it becomes a beautiful and very smooth sauce. Now, as I mentioned before, you're going to add hot water to this to get it to the consistency that you like. And then that is all you have to do for this. And what I'm going to do is once my spaghetti is cooked and drained, I'm going to add in the rest of the ingredients to it and then toss with the sauce, and you are ready to go. Once my spaghetti was done cooking, I went ahead and drained it, and then I put it back into the pot that I was cooking it in. And then I added in 1 red bell pepper that I very thinly sliced, and then a couple of green onions and some shredded chicken breast. And the recipe does call for some fresh cilantro, which I love, and I think that would be a great flavor in this dish, but my husband doesn't like it, so I did leave it out. But if you do like cilantro, I would add it in here. And then some chopped peanuts, which I referenced earlier with the peanut butter. So if you were using like crunchy peanut butter, you could skip this step, or if you don't want to have that texture, you could skip this step. And then all you're going to do is add your sauce on top, toss it to combine, and everything is ready to go. Now you will start to see a theme with these meals. They all do utilize chicken breast. As part of my first week of really trying to be mindful of food waste and what we were spending at the grocery store and kind of budget a little bit better, I went ahead and got about 3 pounds of chicken breast, and I cooked it in my Instant Pot, which I loved. It came out so well, but you can cook it however you like, whether you want to bake it or if you boil it so you have shredded chicken. And then I was able to use it throughout the week with these different meals that had totally different flavor profiles, so it didn't feel redundant that they all had chicken in them, but it was definitely very cost effective. I also like that I was able to have the chicken prepped for the rest of the week, which made it super quick and easy to throw together the rest of these dinners. Next up, we have a chicken pot pie stuffing casserole, and oh my goodness, if you are looking for quick and easy comfort food, look no further. This dish was so good and so easy to make. So I'm just going to start out here. I have 1 onion that I did dice, and I'm just going to go ahead and let that sweat and saute in a couple tablespoons of butter until it softens up. I'm not looking to caramelize it, but just until it becomes nice and soft. Now I will have the recipe linked in the description box for this as well that I used, but I did customize it based off of our tastes and then also what I had on hand, again trying to be more mindful. But while my onions were softening, I went ahead and used 2 frozen bags of peas and carrots that I had in my freezer, and I just popped them in the microwave and defrosted them according to the package directions, so that way they were ready to go. The original recipe calls for peas, mushrooms, red pepper. I love all of those things. My husband's not the biggest mushroom fan, but like I said, I wanted to use up what we had on hand, and we did have those frozen peas and carrots. And to me, when I think of chicken pot pie, I definitely think of peas and carrots. So I'm actually surprised that carrots weren't in this recipe, but they were really good. So once those are ready in the microwave, I'm just going to go ahead and throw them into this pot with the onions, and then we're going to finish adding the rest of our ingredients. One thing that I absolutely love with dishes like this is that you can use them as a way to utilize what you have in your pantry, your freezer, or in your refrigerator. So whatever vegetables you have on hand that you need to use up, throw them in here. It's a great way to use them up, and then also if you have children, I think it's kind of a great way to disguise some of them, just because you're going to be incorporating the chicken, and we have like the cream sauce mixture that's going to be going in there. So definitely use a dish like this when you have different vegetables that you need to use up, because it's a great way to do so. Now the recipe didn't call for it, but I went ahead and added in some onion powder and some garlic powder. I pretty much utilize those seasonings in almost every single dish, unless it has stronger flavors. So I went ahead and added those in. Again, this is a way that you can customize to your liking or what your family likes. You can throw in any kind of seasonings that you want here. So once all of the flavors are combined with my veggies, this is where I kind of deviate from the recipe a little bit. I went ahead and added in a couple more tablespoons of butter and let that melt. And then to that, I'm going to add the flour that the recipe calls for. So in the recipe that I'll have linked again down below, it has you combine a can of cream of chicken soup, a cup of milk, and 1/3 cup of flour in a separate pot, and then add that into your vegetables. But I wanted to follow just kind of what I know, and so if you've ever made like gravies or things like that, building a roux is very common. So I just added a little bit of butter just because there wasn't a lot in there from when I cooked the onions once I added in the peas and carrots. Let that melt, and then again I'm going to add the flour in, let it cook for about, 30 seconds to a minute just to get that raw flour taste off. And then I'm going to go in with the milk and the cream of chicken soup. So it's just following kind of more of a typical procedure for if you're doing something like a gravy or a sauce. And that's what I like about cooking, because you can absolutely do it however you want. You don't have to follow a recipe to the T. And so like I said, when I saw that, I just wanted to kind of trust my gut and go with what I know. And so that's why I just changed it up a little bit, and it turned out perfectly. I'm sure if you do it the other way, it will too. But something I like about doing it like this is that I didn't have to dirty a second pot for doing the sauce separately. Now once you have all of your ingredients combined, you're just going to let this cook over medium-high heat until the mixture comes up to a boil. It's going to start to thicken, and then at that point we're going to add in our chicken. Now if you wanted to make this vegetarian, leave the chicken out. You don't have to add it in. And again, I'm utilizing that chicken breast that I prepped in the beginning of the week, so it made it really quick and easy for me this evening for dinner. But you're just going to add that in, and then we will combine everything in our casserole dish once it's combined. So once your mixture is cooked, you're just going to put that in the bottom of a 13 by 9 inch pan, and you don't have to spray it or anything. And then you just want to spread it out evenly, and then you're going to top it with your stuffing. You do need 2 boxes of stuffing if you are making the full recipe, which is what makes the 13 by 9. So just pick out whatever flavor is your favorite, and I just cook that according to the package directions. And then you're going to put that on top. This is going to go into an oven that's been preheated to 400 for about 25 minutes. And oh my goodness, when this comes out of the oven, it is absolutely amazing. Like I said earlier, it's the perfect, easy, quick comfort food. And I live in Northwest Indiana, so it has been freezing here. So this is definitely one of those meals that can help warm you up on a cold night. Last up, we are going to be having some barbecue chicken flatbread pizzas. And if you want to talk simple, look no further. So what I'm doing is just taking 2 non-flatbreads that I picked up at the store, and I went ahead and just put them on my baking sheet, and I'm just going to put some barbecue sauce down. You can use whatever is your favorite. We love the Sweet Baby Ray's. So you're just going to put that down onto the naan, and then I just use a spoon just to spread it out. And I start with a little bit. I didn't want it to be too much barbecue sauce because I knew I was going to top it with some barbecue sauce. But again, it's personal preference. I mean, it's pizza, so it's always, whatever you like best. So once we have that spread out, I'm going to go in with the chicken breast, again, that I had prepped in the beginning of the week, and get that spread out on top. I also top this with some shredded cheddar cheese. We really wanted to have some red onion, but our Walmart was completely out when I was grocery shopping. But you could top it with anything that you like. So whatever you like to eat with like barbecue flavors, you can use. If you don't like barbecue, doing like Alfredo would be amazing. You could have a chicken Alfredo pizza, or again, if you're vegetarian, just doing Alfredo. I do that often. Taking a naan bread, do some Alfredo sauce, and then some mozzarella cheese, a little bit of Italian seasoning, and it's so good. But then I just popped this into the oven. It was at 375 according to what the package said for the naan bread, and it only took about 5 minutes in the oven. And then when it came out, I just topped it with a little bit more of the barbecue sauce, and dinner was ready. Just serve this with a side salad and you are good to go. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure that you hit the thumbs up button before you go. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe and join my YouTube family. And I will see you guys next week for another video.